Hello everyone. Today we will be discussing again the different validation approaches that we have seen. So we have mainly seen three approaches: the validation set approach, then the next one is k-fold validation. We yesterday I had given you homework to do five-fold validation. So k-fold validation, and the last one is actually jackknife, but in the validation terminology it would be called as LOCV, that is leave one out cross validation. Okay, so let me quickly revise what are these things. So in validation set approach, what we do is, if this is my original data, I divide the data into two equal parts. Okay, one part is used as validation set and another part is used as training set. So we train the model on the basis of this, means on the basis of 50% observations, and then we estimate the error on the basis of this. Okay, and we can do average. So we can, in the next iteration, we can keep this as train and keep this as validation, repeat the same thing. So we will get two estimates of test error. So test error 1 and test error 2, and final estimate of test error would be average of these two estimates. Is it okay? This is what we do in validation set approach. So what do we do in the k-fold validation approach? For the sake of convenience, let me take k equal to 5. So I divide my data into 5 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Assume these parts are equal. Okay. Then what I do every time is, in the first iteration, I keep first part as test set, the red part, and rest of all is the training set. Okay. Then on the basis of that, I will get first estimate of test error. Let me call it T1. Okay. Then in the next iteration, so in the next part, what I'll do is, I will keep the second part as my test data. I will fit the model on other 4 parts of the data, and I'll get second estimate of the error, test error, that let me denote by say T2. So I repeat this procedure 5 times. Every time I keep one part of the data as test data and fit the model on the remaining. So finally my final estimate of test error would be 1 by 5 T1 plus T2 plus T5. Okay, so in general for k-fold it would be 1 by k summation TI. Okay, I going from 1 to k. And in leave one out cross validation, what we do, if I have n observations, so O1, O2 up to On, every time I have to keep one observation as test. So first I will keep O1 as test observation, and then I'll fit a model on the remaining, and I'll estimate the first test error. So I'll get TE1 as my estimate of first test error, and in the next iteration I will bring my O1 back into the training set. Okay, I'll bring my O1 back into the training set. I will keep O2 as my test observation, and I'll fit the model again on the basis of remaining, and I'll estimate O2, and I'll get test error on the basis of this. Okay, so this we go on doing n times, and my final error of the test error can again be average. Okay, now what are the pros and cons of each of these methods? Few of them we have already discussed. Today we will discuss few more. First of all, let us see the obvious pros and cons. So if I talk in terms of computational efforts, can I order these models? Can I order these validation methods in terms of computational efforts? See, in the validation set approach, I need to fit model. Ideally in the validation set approach, we actually keep only one fixed set as validation set. So only once, but even if I treat it like twofold CV, still I have to fit the model only 2 times. So at most 1 or 2 times in the validation set approach. In the k-fold approach, I have to fit model k times. And in the last approach, I have to fit, that is LOCV, leave one out cross validation. I have to fit model n times. Of course, we know this. As a result, my computational efforts go on increasing. So LOCV, the computational efforts are largest. Okay. Now, let us go to some non-obvious pros and cons. What is the size of training data and test data in each of these cases? So here, my model is fitted on the basis of roughly n by 2 observations. Correct? Here my model is fitted on the basis of how many? Try to think. It is n by k into k minus 1. Correct? N by k. So each part has n by k observations and we use k minus 1 parts. So total number of observations which are used for training data is n by k into k minus 1. And in LOCV it is n minus 1. You know from the asymptotic theory that model estimation goes on becoming better and better as your sample size goes on increasing. So here my sample size is much smaller compared to the actual sample size n. As a result, my estimates are pretty bad. So my bias in the estimation of test error is very high. Okay. In k-fold validation, I am in somewhat intermediate scenario. So my bias is intermediate. Whereas in LOCV, my model is fitted on the basis of n minus 1 observations. So n minus 1 means I am almost using an entire data. So my test error would be quite accurately estimated. As a result, my bias is very low. Okay, in LOCV. So if I now want to order in terms of bias, so okay, so in terms of computational effort, we will have 3 categories: best, moderate and worst. So in terms of computational effort, best one was validation set approach and moderate is k-fold and worst is LOCV. Okay. In terms of bias, best is LOCV because LOCV gives the least bias. K-fold is again moderate and validation set is worst because it is here the model is based only on half of the observations. Okay. And now we can't stop at bias. As soon as the term bias comes in, you should be worried about another term, that is variance. Okay, so what can I say in terms of variance? See, the thing is, here in the validation set approach, the training set and the test set, ideally as I said in validation set, we don't do even this. This is actually twofold CV. In validation set approach, I do fitting of model business only once. I fit the model on train set and I test it on the validation set. So I have only one model and the test set is kind of completely independent. Test set or validation set is completely independent from it. Okay. In k-fold cross validation, I have k models. Each model will have some common component as training set, right? For example, when I fit the first model, we know that the second, third, fourth and fifth, these parts are used, all these parts are used for the training data. When I fit the second model, okay, what consists of my training data? My training data consists of these, okay, plus this, plus this. So you can see that this part is common to both the models. So sum of the part which is contributing to each model is common in k-fold validation. Okay. Whereas in LOCV, what happens? In LOCV, Actually I am fitting on the basis of n minus 1 observations, so only one observation is different. So almost entire training set is same for each model. Okay, how does that affect us? So let us try to see how it affects us. So how it affects me? Okay, so we have to talk in terms of variance. Now, so as I said, in validation set I have at most one or two estimates of test error. Even when I have two estimates of test error, the training sets are disjoint. Okay, so these are based on disjoint training sets. Okay, these are based on disjoint training sets. So this is in validation set approach. In k-fold CV we have k estimates of test error. So these are partially overlapping training set. Okay, so the training set are partially overlapping. And in LOCV I have n estimates of test error and they are based on almost the same training set. Okay, because only one observation is different every time. So how does this contribute to variance? To understand this, let us try to recall formula for the variance of averages. Okay, so I have average of test errors, right? I am going to take average of test error. So if I have variance of 1 by r, summation I going from 1 to r, TEI, here r would be 2, 1 or 2 in case of validation set, r would be k here and r would be n in LOCV. Okay, so this we know would be 1 by r square, sum over I going from 1 to r, variance of TEI, okay, variance of individual errors, plus 2 times covariances of TEI, TEJ, and sum is over I less than j. Okay. Now, when I have disjoint training sets, my test errors are more or less uncorrelated. Okay. As a result, this second factor may not contribute much to the variance of the test error. Okay. In the k-fold approach, because I have partial overlap of training set, these might be positively correlated, slightly positively correlated. So they would contribute up to some extent. Whereas in LOCV, we know that they are based on almost the same data set. So these will be highly positively correlated in case of LOCV. As a result, their contribution would be quite high. So variance is very high in the case of LOCV, and in case of validation set it is the least. In case of k-fold it is moderate. Okay, so let us now come back to where we were. So we were comparing these three methods on the basis of various approaches. So computational efforts, bias, and now variance. So variance, in terms of variance, what is best? Best is validation set, moderate is k-fold approach, and LOCV is the worst. Okay. Now, ideally, I want to focus on goodness of results, so I shouldn't worry much about this factor unless I have a serious computational problem. Okay. So, if I want to base my decision on the basis of these two, k-fold is going to give me kind of a trade-off between bias and variance, because in k-fold both are moderate. Okay. So, generally, k-fold is preferred. And of course, an additional advantage is k-fold is giving me moderate computational efforts also. So this is an additional advantage. Hence, in a general setup, if you don't have any specific requirements, k-fold approach is preferred. Okay. Now, another question. We know that k-fold approach has moderate bias, whereas LOCV is best in terms of bias. Now, should I be concerned too much about the bias? In fact, LOCB also may not get a very great perfect estimate of test error in every case, because the size of the test set is different. Okay, so should I be worried about these things or not? Now, it depends on what my goal is. My goal can be estimating test error. When would my goal be estimating test error? If I want to give, some sort of judgment as to how much wrong my model can go, then I want to give estimate of test error. So in such a scenario, we may have to be very careful about our models and validation set approaches. In fact, in general, validation approaches, cross validation approaches, because you may not get a perfectly good estimate of test error always. Okay, there may always be some issues involved with it. Whereas most of the times what we are interested in is choosing optimal model. Okay, so optimal model may mean choosing optimal level of flexibility. For that we are estimating test error, and we choose that model which is corresponding to least estimate of test error. So it can be seen via simulations that even if the actual estimates of test error may be wrong, the point or the level of flexibility at which the error is minimum is more or less correctly estimated by LOCV as well as by k-fold cross validation. I don't know if you are getting what I am trying to say. Let me try to draw a picture. Okay, so this is flexibility, and here I have to plot either test error or estimate of test error. So we saw that generally test error is U-shaped. So this is my curve for test error. Of course, test error is going to be unknown in most of the cases, so we are trying to estimate it. So if I estimate it by, say, k-fold cross validation, I may not get exactly same shape. I may get something like this, or I may get an overestimate, or sometimes I may also get an underestimate. But what I am saying is, in most of the cases, the point of minimum is more or less correctly estimated. So it is here, it is here. So it is not that far. Okay, so in most of the cases, the flexibility level or the point of minimum error is correctly estimated by k-fold validation, k-fold cross validation, as well as by LOCV, that is leave one out cross validation. So let me repeat what I am trying to say. The estimate of test error may not be accurate always. So estimate of test error may not be accurate always. However, the choice of model is generally accurate. In the case of LOCV as well as k-fold cross validation. Okay, choice of model is generally more or less accurate in the case of LOCV as well as k-fold cross validation. Okay, so what I am trying to say is, even if the estimate of test error may not be perfect, these solutions are workable solutions. They can give you a decent choice of optimal model. Is it okay? Okay, so now just as a practice, we should also try estimating test error on simulated data and see what happens. So there are different ways in which you can simulate data and try this. So let me try to see what we can do. So let us generate 3 simulated data sets. So data set 1 we can generate by simple linear regression model. So y is, say, 2 plus 3x plus epsilon, where epsilon follows normal 0 1. Okay, data set 2 let me generate by 2 e raised to 3 plus epsilon, where epsilon is again normal 0 1. And data set 3 let me generate via 2 plus 3x plus 4x square plus 5x cube plus epsilon, where epsilon is normal 0 1. Okay, in each case we will take n equal to 100, and what we'll do is we will try to estimate test error via different models, but we won't go for this model. Okay, we would try to try by polynomial regression models. So my level of flexibility is via polynomial regression, degree of polynomial. Okay, so we will estimate the test error on some data. We will see the actual test error. Also, because it's simulated data set, I can actually keep some part aside and use the actual test error. Okay, so let us try doing this in R. Okay, so let me take same x in each case. So n is equal to say 100, n is equal to 100, and then let me construct a separate test set consisting of 20 observations each. So test set size is 20. So what I'll do is I will actually generate 120 observations and I'll keep last 20 aside. So x let me take as R unif coming from of size n plus ts, right? And y I have to generate by 3 methods. So y1 is 2 plus 3 into x plus R norm n plus ts. Okay, then y2 is 2 into e raised to 3x plus, these may be different errors now, so R norm n plus ts. And y3 is 2 plus 3x plus 4x square plus 5x cube plus R norm n plus ts. Okay, my test set for first data is actually y1 and last 20 observations from it. So n plus 1 2 n plus ts. Similarly, I can have second test set and third test set. So for second test set, I have to just change this to y2, correct? And for third test set, I have to change this to y3. Okay, so this is how I have generated the data. Now I have to fit model of different flexibility each time. So with these three types of training set and test sets, so training set would be something like this, and with this try to estimate different types of test errors. Okay, this is the homework. Try to do these computations, estimate different test errors and see whether the estimate of test errors is accurate and whether the estimate of model flexibility is accurate or not. Okay, I'll stop here.